1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 12 and 13. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. You say, food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. The body, however, is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. So we're just looking at two verses in today's passage, but next week we'll look at a lot more. The main reason being is that these verses contain a theological foundation that's going to guide the verses to follow, 14 through 20. So we probably won't spend a ton of time on this today, but that's just what's going on there. So it begins like this. I have the right to do anything you say. What's interesting is that these words you say, they're actually not there in the original text. And the reason that the NIV translators are doing this is to help us understand where the quotations are. You see, in ancient Greek, there's no quotation marks. There's none of these things right here. So it's hard to know, right? It would read more like this. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but I will not be mastered by anything. Food for the body, or food for the stomach, and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. So it's unclear. This part you can pretty clearly tell is Paul, but it's hard to see in here who's talking. Is it the Corinthians or is it Paul? And I think the NIV translators have done a great job in putting in the quotations and showing us what they say and what Paul says, and we'll see why they did a good job as we go through it. So, I have the right to do anything. Remember that you say is not here, but the word but is here. And I'm going to do the color thing again this week. I would circle but in blue. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. And the reason I think that Paul is the one speaking here and the Corinthians are the ones speaking here is because Paul is giving them a better way. He's tempering their side of things, which is going to come out more clearly as we move through. So I have the right to do anything. This is Christian freedom, right? They feel that they have been set free from sin and death and its consequences, and they say, I have the right to do anything. But not everything is beneficial. This is Paul's point. Notice he does not deny Christian freedom. Instead, he speaks about what is beneficial. So the right to do anything doesn't mean you have like a right to sin or something like that. What it means is that as Christians have been freed, we are freed to pursue that which is most beneficial, namely a relationship with the Lord, right? With something that we couldn't have before the freedom that we have through Christ in the gospel. So I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. So Christian freedom is a freedom unto in the direction of the beneficial. Unto beneficial things. Okay? And that word but connects these two thoughts. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. That's statement one. Here comes statement two. I have the right to do anything. Again, that word but shows up. And I think, again, this is Paul speaking on this side, right here, and the Corinthians speaking over here. Like, okay, he's not going to deny Christian freedom, but I will not be mastered by anything. You could take both of these statements and put it in the negative. But avoid that which is, sorry. Avoid that which is a detriment. And over here, I will not be mastered by anything. Avoid that which can master you. So, for instance, right, it is a Christian is free to drink alcohol, but not to be mastered by it, right? This is true of money. This is true of clothing. This is true of music. Any one of these things that we enjoy, which we're free to do, we can be mastered by. We have to be careful not to be mastered by anything. So that's statement 2. And here's statement 3. Again, the you say is supplied. Food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. Many people would have this quotation move here. In fact, some of your Bibles might say that the Corinthians end with this statement about food, and this part is Paul. I don't think that's the case. I think the NIV translators are correct. The quotation belongs here. God will destroy them both. We'll see more of that next week, but just for this sake of this, let's look at it. Food for the stomach and the stomach for food. And that would be another blue circle for and. And what he's doing is drawing a relationship, right? Food for the stomach. That's where food is going. And the stomach is for food. And his point's pretty simple, right? Food doesn't make a lot of sense unless you have a stomach to eat it. And the stomach doesn't make a lot of sense unless you're going to put food in there. It's an argument from the natural, from the obvious. And then the Corinthians, so this might have been like a Greek saying, but the Corinthians add this. And God will destroy them both. And I'm going to highlight that because it really makes a big deal, a big point about the theology of the Corinthians. What they're saying is the food's made for the stomach and the stomach's made for food, and that God will destroy them both. So ultimately, it doesn't matter what you eat. As long as you're eating, right? The stomach and food have a clear purpose. It doesn't really matter what you're going to eat. After all, God's going to destroy them both. We don't really need to think about this body or anything like that, because it's going to end in destruction, right? That's what they're saying. If you go look ahead to verses 14 through 20, you're going to see why this thought is so wrong. The body has got eternal purposes anyways. That's not the main point of verse 13. Paul is going to correct this because, by the way, this is all within the context of sexual immorality. What the Corinthians are saying in this is most likely that, hey, we have these parts of our body that are made for sex, and sex is made for these parts of the body. So why shouldn't we have sex? I'm free to eat, right? I'm also free to have sex, and I don't really need to worry about who I'm having sex with because God's going to destroy both the body and these pieces and sex. Like it's all going to go away. So, ultimately, does it really matter? That's the Corinthian stance. And that's why they were able to go sleep with prostitutes, which will be the main topic in verses 14 through 20. Now, Paul will say, the body, however, this stands in contrast to what, wrong color, blue. This stands in contrast. This, however, connects the body to its actual purpose, its actual reason for being, and we'll see. The body is not meant, I'm just going to put that in red. I'm not going to underline it because it's not a command, but I just want to really focus on that. Is not meant for sexual immorality. What's really important here is that Paul isn't saying that the body isn't meant for sex, and then cut that part out. No. He's saying the body's not meant for sexual immorality. He's adding this aspect of sin. The body is not meant for sin. It's not meant for sexual immorality. It does have a purpose, but for the Lord. For the Lord. So why do we have bodies? For the Lord. That's the purpose of the body. We are to live for God. The body is for Him, which means that we are going to eat food in a way that is unto the Lord. And that means we're going to have sex in a way that is unto the Lord. And he adds this incredible statement at the end. And the Lord is for the body. The Lord is for the body. So this incredible statement at the end is he's saying, just like the stomach's for food and the food's for stomach, the Lord's for the body and the body is for the Lord. Which, I have a hard time understanding what Paul means by saying the Lord is for the body. But at the minimum, it means this, that God created our bodies to help us be in relationship with him. This is a integral part of our body. It's not a weapon for sin. It's not a tool for our pleasures. It is for the Lord, and the Lord is even for us. That means our ultimate satisfaction is going to come from a relationship with the Lord, not from anything else, because the Lord was made for the body. And that's the difficulty, right? Because we want to put that word was made, but that's not quite right, is it? The Lord wasn't made, but he is for the body, which means that the body itself is designed by the Lord to have its satisfaction in him. This text says a ton about our purpose in life, why we exist, what we're here for. And so I just hope that as you read it, as you contemplate it, as you think about these things, that would just really come to undergird your understanding of why you're here.